Well, hello everybody again. Welcome to the second podcast in the Competitive Edge. Today we have four people with us. Eddie had to back out, so let's introduce ourselves again. Me, AllCityKing.
I am Ginzaki.
And I guess I'm Nomad here.
And Midnightfox.
Awesome. I like how we're getting more and more people every time. We're getting kind of like a regular. It's pretty sweet. So, as we said in the last podcast, this week we're talking about reprints. And I know Fox has got a whole, 3 hour long thing about this because he's got the biggest collection I think I saw on Midnight TCG. So let's first off talk about the impact on players, not the collection, the players. So
I don't think there is a negative connotation for the players. More cards in the circulation means more combos are available to everyone, which means more interesting play for everyone.
mm-hmm. Yeah, the first thing is like how's it impacted your playing? Like I know for me, like the whole time I was like, oh, I need a Zen Mage, which is coming out. Oh, I need Lance. Oh, I need Chalice. Oh, I need all the way back to Thunder King Ryo coming out in the Legendary Collection. Like I said, I've always needed those, and then all of a sudden they all came out as like pretty much commons. That's made my decks like so much better. I think I can actually go to a regionals and maybe top now because I actually have that stuff. So, what about you, Gin?
It allowed me to reprints have allowed me to finish my samurai deck, which I'm now maining. It's also made Mirror Force available until I acquired ultra rare copies,
Mm-hmm.
and I like Mirror Force. I think everyone should have one because it's just that thing that makes you think before attacking. I think it's positive on the game as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Nomad, what about you? How's it changed your playing?
Well, see, I'm going to play devil's advocate in a way here and say that as it has helped a lot of my decks. For example, I have Pot of Duality. It's a card I was probably not going to get two or three secrets of, especially given its hype and demand and all that. And it has allowed me to make a lot of decks. But at the same time, I also spend less money on the game now because I can just sit around and wait for things.
Mm-hmm.
And so in some aspects, it kind of backfires because I don't have to go out and spend a lot of money early on because I know that a lot of the cards will drop in value.
I can see that.
And like in turn, a lot of the existing cards that I have are worthless or wouldn't hold as much value. So it's more difficult for me to go and trade new cards in some ways too. But
Hmm.
overall, though, I think it is good overall. Like even I'll get into more of this later on, but I like it and I hate it, and like anything else, it creates discussion. So that's that right there,
Reprints,
me.
they really are a double-edged sword. Like to be completely honest with you, like they are. Um, like my friend had a playset of Tour Guide Secret that he worked hard to get, and then 2 weeks later they're like, "Oh, it's a Battle Pack rare," and he was like, $350 to $400 of him turned into 180. It's a harsh thing, but that has to go with pricing and what we're talking about later. What about you, Fox? Has it changed your playing?
Well, I'm going to say that it used to be I wasn't a conformist. I looked for the off the wall cards before my collection grew as huge as it did. Um, and it is good. Like you guys have said, it's a double edged sword, like Solemn Judgment. Remember, I think money wise trade value because I've done trading for almost 8 years, so it used to be the thrill of just getting in for the trade.
Oh, of course.
So to see Solemn Judgment get reprinted and go from a $35 to $40 card to being being able to buy it for $1, just go buy the light structure deck for $10. Kind of sad, and I see myself playing a little bit more mainstream cards in my decks, which usually ends up backfiring on me, like playing Solemn Judgment, because I play it out. I don't get enough to get like my Thought Ruler Archfiend I was talking about last week. I don't get it out quick enough to be able to recycle those life points. So, as far as my playing, it's kind of a good thing, bad thing.
And how's it changed the playing around you guys? I know with me, like I said before, like I have 2 other duelists in my city, or else I have to travel 2 hours anyway, northeast, south, or west to hit a locals. But I've noticed like just a phenomenal change in like the local scene, and even like my other 2 players here, they have been increasingly better now that like Lance and Chalice is like the biggest change here, I have to say. And it's allowing us to advance our game even more, and that's what I like about reprints.
Biggest problem in my area is it's opened up the net decking scene. Like, some people just don't get better because all they do is they find a deck that they want to build, they look up how to build it, but they don't actually learn how to play it. And I've seen that as a growing problem.
Yeah, but you're going to have that regardless, though. I mean, even if we're back in like 02 and 03 of when our reprints weren't as abundant, you would still have a good deck, a good idea, and it'll radiate. So like I'll see a good deck or a good play and I'll try and emulate it, but if I don't practice on the reasonings behind that and get good, I'll still be a scrub.
And I think that is a bit of a growing problem. Like, I'll see kids come in where their parents have paid for the top cards, and they just come in there, and they think they know exactly how they're going to play it out, and it backfires on them when a ruling gets called on them, and it kind of burns them out on the game early. And I mean, reprinting everything as quick as they have been, I see a lot more top-tier decks, but unfortunately, not the top-tier players to go with the top-tier decks because they don't take the time to research it, test it out before they bring it to a local scene and try it out. So I find myself outthinking them, and, to me, an older guy, I take my son to tournaments with me, so it's kind of hurtful to me to have to do it, but the only way to help these guys learn is to teach them the proper rulings on how to play the cards. So, again, it's a double-edged sword.
That reminds me of what happened one time when I was in Regina. Dino Rabbit had just hit it big, and I know that has nothing to do with reprints, really. But Dino Rabbit hit it big, right? And everyone was running, like, the Lagia, the Dolkas. I was playing this one kid, and he's like, draw 5, and then I lost the dice roll, so he went first, and was like, yes, I drew a Dino Rabbit. So he puts it on the field, and he goes, oh, wait, I need to see what this does. Hang on a second. And I go, you have a Dino Rabbit, $130 card on the field, and you don't know what to do with it? I was like, really? Really? And I still lost to him. And it's like, it's terrible. And
what's it?
Like, pardon me?
Oh, sorry, I just kind of coughed here.
Oh, it was a sad story. I wasn't very pleased with it.
I do have a question though.
Yep.
What's a Dino Rabbit?
I think he meant Rescue Rabbit. You're thinking of the Dino Rabbit deck.
No, I know. I'm just dumping here.
Gotta give somebody a hard time.
I mean, if he summoned an entire deck, I mean that takes pretty skill. That takes some pretty good skills there to summon.
Oh,
an
did I
entire
say
deck
he
on the
summoned
first turn,
Dino Rabbit? Oh man, it's almost as bad as saying he summoned Muka Muka.
Hey, Muka Muka has mad props here. That'll never get old.
So anyways, guys, what's the best card that has been reprinted so far that you needed or used the most? Mine, I'd have to say personally is Miracle Fusion because I'm an avid hero player and Super Poly. I'll just say the fusion cards in general because I'm an avid hero player. Every single one of my decks has heroes in it. I just can't play if they don't have heroes in it. And like Miracle Fusion as an Ultra, Ultra is my favorite rarity. It's my favorite. So I've spent like I think I capped out at $700 on Legendary Collection just to get enough Super Polys and Miracle Fusions.
Well, that's some
Wow.
dedication there.
It's a little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
Konami got rich off you.
Those jerks. Hey, at least I had like 30 Ryos by the time I was done.
Hey, pass some of that love my way. I think my favorite reprint is, I believe, Brionic recently got a reprint into Gold Collection. And as far as synchro players go, I think that's just the go-to synchro card for everyone. And I'm a personal fan of it. I love it. So seeing it in gold is always lovely.
Yeah, and there are a few gold cards I think look very nice. I'm thinking of Gold Sarcophagus right now and DD Warrior Lady. Those are two of my favorites that are actually gold rare that I like better than the previous incarnations.
I'm going to say that my favorite, it's kind of a toss-up between two cards, Doom Caliber and Thunder King Ryo. I just like the look of Doom Caliber, so yeah, I love my Turbo Pack one. I was more ready to split with my gold rares versus my Turbo Pack Ultras, but as far as needing for my deck, I was happy to see Thunder Kings get reprinted because almost any side I run runs Thunder King just for limiting draw engines and being able to stop special summons. So I definitely needed that to hit.
Everyone forgets about that draw effect, though. It's like, play duality. No, you can't. I find myself often forgetting as well, but
Yeah, I was playing on Dueling Network, playing a kid, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to drop Pot of Duality. No. Why not? Can you read Thunder King Ryo? Can't draw.
Oh, that happens to me once every duel. Everyone always opens with a Ryan. I'm like, yes, Thought of Duality. Time for me to pull a hero to my hand so I can like screw with you. And they go, nope. And I go, scoop.
oh,
Scoop.
see, but we're Yu-Gi-Oh players. That means we can't read anyway, so it shouldn't be held against us. I mean, that's just we're just following our programming.
That's true. All right, so
Yeah,
moving
it's happened to
right
me
along.
more than once that I have just completely, like, for the longest time, I had completely phased out the effect of Spirit Reaper that destroys him when he's targeted by something.
Especially Effect Veiler, too. Effect Veiling a Spirit Reaper. I've had to explain that one about 100 times about why that. It's like, well, yeah, I know the activation isn't negated; it's still being targeted. But
The
if you're
effect is gone.
yeah, so if you're negating the effect that would make him destroy itself, he does not destroy himself, and you just wasted your Veiler.
Unless they're like, ta ha ha, BLS, and then you're like, oh, okay.
And then you're like, QQ.
Yeah. Yeah. So pricing, I know this is going to be Fox's favorite part to rant about, but what has it done value-wise to your collection or your deck? Honestly, it's actually helped a lot of my decks. Reprinting obviously has, because all the cards are easier. But I guess I can't really talk on this because I don't have a huge collection and mine's been stolen like twice. So they're like, yes, I had good cards, and now they're all probably just junk. But it's made my deck value-wise, I guess, go up because now they're completed. That's about it, though.
My deck, my Sabers, I valued it when I completed it, finished blinging it out and everything. It was between a $900 and an $1,100 deck. And now that a bunch of the cards have reprinted and that some of new rulings have gone through, it's about $200.
Ouch.
The only thing
Well,
that's keeping it afloat is the good synchros I have in the extra deck.
yeah, I think my extra deck is, I guess, made possible in part by reprints, but if I look back, I do have the original Bionic and pretty much all the older ones I had except for Scrap Dragon. Um, but as far as all the speed and whatnot, like for me, I might not be a collector, but I've always been into bartering and things. And like Fox will probably have a lot more to say on its part of the game. And in turn, like I mentioned earlier, it's actually helped me save money on the game because I know that it's no longer as good of an investment. So when I look at it on that end, it's saving me money. But I don't know. I thought it was good. I thought it was bad, but in the end, it's a case of I'm no longer on the verge of becoming homeless because of Yu-Gi-Oh. And and I mean, I would still be living in a 4-bedroom box anyway if I was homeless because, I don't throw things away. I could and then I could take all these reprints and I could decorate my box, and then, you know, I would still be in good shape that way.
Yeah.
4-bedroom box. That tells me what ethnicity you are. Only a white man can afford a 4-bedroom box.
It might be worth like 1 million Monopoly dollars. That's pretty high in the homeless world. So,
But how would that translate into crappy tire money though? Because I got a bit of that.
probably about 65 to $70. So I mean, you can buy one of those like mini burners and maybe two cans of gas for it.
Oh yeah,
Hot meal for a few weeks. Why not?
oh yeah, and then I could, I could sell my reprints for bottom dollar and buy some donuts. But yeah,
Well, Fox, time for your go on the pricing. Let's hear it.
Well, I'm going to say value-wise, back in the day, my first collection I ever had was actually quite expensive. Right before Konami took the game back over, I made huge investments before reprints became crazy. Back then, I was very frustrated. I'd invested a lot into the game, and once I started seeing reprints hit, like when they hit Dark Arm Dragon, that's the first time I sold out. And I decided to go back into the game when I decided to go with the website. And my initial investment was a lot less than my first collection. Yeah, it was probably about a quarter of my first collection, and I didn't even get what I needed back on that collection. But anyways, when I see reprints hit, I try to stay ahead of the market. I try to watch the Yu-Gi-Oh! News, see what's coming out now, especially with Konami taking over, so I know when to trade, sell. It's like watching a stock market. So I know when to get rid of certain cards. I think the best thing that's kept its investment over years that I have that still took me quite a bit to get was my completed LOB Exodia set, which still
That will
sits
never change. That will never change. That will always be expensive.
it's still Exodia. It's still the shiny. It's still the old ones. And I mean, if you're playing Exodia, do you really want to run commons? I mean,
Yeah, I couldn't.
I've done it before because I had to, and
It just doesn't feel like you're summoning the forbidden one if it's not shiny.
Mm-hmm.
I was frustrated right before I found a deal for that LOB Exodia set. I went out and got a common set because I was wanting to play the deck, and I was tired of waiting to try to get a hold of it. I get all the common stuff I needed, and boom, LOB falls in my lap. I wasn't hollering because That's like the showcase, LOB. He's all blinged out with Exodia standing under him and Exodia Necros above him. If you could tell, I'm an Exodia fan.
Yeah,
No, I am too.
That's how I completed my deck. Was when I joined the Yu-Gi-Oh forums, I had a complete LOB Exodia set, and I just threw that on my list and said, "Come to me." And they
One
did come.
person
But
I do want to.
frustration, yeah, watching things that I can't get rid of quick enough plummet in price. Like I was really glad to get a way ahead heads up on Effect Veller getting reprinted because I was holding on to that $20 common and that $25 ultra rare until I heard it was getting reprinted. Boom, in the auction house. Get rid of it because I'll be able to go out and buy the next special edition box and pull it.
One person that I want to point out on our site that has probably been rocked by the reprints so much is the Dark Angel. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at his selling list, but he's got like 3 Turbo 6 Judgment Dragons, the Ulti Dark Arm Dragons. He's got so much Champion Pack and so much Turbo stuff. And I mean, that doesn't lose its value as much, but there was an $11 drop from the Ulti Judgment Dragon as soon as the common was confirmed for Legendary Collection. So a collector like that would be another harsh fall too, because he probably went to so many locals and traded so hard to run that deck and then, built up his collection by keeping them, and now they're all worth like $20-$25.
And on top of that, because he's running Lightsworn, everyone is dumping on him and saying he sacks all the time. So, I mean, he's getting hit on both sides.
Yeah, that goes into playing. But let's not also forget the one in 10,000 people that can buy 3 Extreme Victories and pull 3 Tour Guides. For them, no matter what it is, it's just profit. It's always profit.
Yeah, and hopefully those kids are smart enough to walk home with friends and
Not
I
see
can't say
Nomad
my
on the
luck
street.
is that great. Back when I had my first collection and I was going crazy buying cards, I bought 3 boxes of Gladiator's Assault. All 3 boxes were secret rare Ultra Heraclinos, going for $35 a pop on eBay, and I sold them for $35. And a week later, they hit 200. I never got a hold of a Herrick again until recently.
until the reprint came out then, when it was in that special edition, the
Yep,
super
when it
with...
got re-released, then people were willing to part with that secret rare.
Yeah.
But I was kicking myself all the way to the curb for selling those for $35 a pop when they hit 200. I was like, I had $600 in my hand.
Yeah, but to be fair...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go on. Okay, well, I was just going to say, to be fair, though, it's still opportunity cost. If you see something at 35, a lot of cards aren't going to go above that, right? So unless you knew that Gladiator Beasts were going to become, like, the meta for a year, then sometimes you make the right calls and sometimes you don't, and I don't know. It's all temporary anyway, because everything's going to become worthless later on, so you might as well enjoy it while you can and keep playing afterwards.
Heraclina spiked in price that made going to locals a pain in the ass for a good long time.
And that is where I really teched, where I talked about last week, Forceback. Everybody would hate to see me at the locals when they were playing Glad Beast because they knew I always had 3 Forceback, and if I could get them early on enough, if I could get them early in the game, that pretty well I had a good enough build, their Glad Beasts were shut down. But when I ran into other decks I had to side it out, they were mainly just my tech for Glad Beasts, which back then, that was what almost everybody in the entire shop was playing.
Yeah, and it was strange because, like, when Glads were very popular in my area, almost nobody ran them. So, like, random guys would show up expecting, like, 3 out of 4 Glad matches and they wouldn't find any. And
That happens all the time when I go to regionals. I'm like, okay, here's the big 5 decks. I go to regionals in Winnipeg or Edmonton, and
Try Vancouver too. It's basically the same thing. It's like half the people who go there are not running meta decks, and unless you know that, you're
my last regionals, I played like 3 Final Countdown decks. I had no cards for it. I was like, no, I need my Dark Bribes. No, Magic Drains, where are you? So, what? How's it changed the way you guys look at buying, selling your cards? For me, I don't even buy cards. Like I was about to buy a Dolka for like $120 from one of my friends, and then all of a sudden there was some rumor going on Facebook that Dolka was going to get reprinted, and I was like, "Yep, sorry, buddy, I'm just going to go buy one for $24.99 and get 5 packs with it, and for supers, which is now Zen mains, which is crazy." And then he's like, "Oh, darn!" And then all of a sudden, a week later, he sold it to a guy for like $35-40 because that's all it's worth now. So, excuse me, for me, I don't even bother buying cards until they're in the reprint set, honestly.
well. I mean,
I go at it. I buy my single cards when I really need them, and I go for tins now. Tins will give you the trade bait. They'll give you. They pretty much pay for themselves in the cards you get as a standard, and then you got the packs. If you pull anything lucky from them, you've got more trade bait. That's the way my pack buying has boiled down to.
when looking back, it's kind of hard. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, everyone's buying singles now. Am I the only one that keeps Konami in business? Seriously?
I think
buy,
so.
like-
I keep Konami in business. I'm buying singles from the people who buy packs.
Yeah, exactly. I keep Konami in business because we've gone almost half an hour and I haven't crapped on them pretty much at all in half an hour. So in that respect, I'm keeping them in business, and I go to my locals almost every week and I support my local business, and in turn I help support Konami. And I don't buy singles online as much anymore. So I'm not fueling their secondary market. So
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I run a site. I was hoping to pull Magic in, but Yu-Gi-Oh really took off. By the way, I don't really play Magic. I'm starting to look into it, try to push that a little bit more so we can get some of those guys too. But as far as pricing, buying cards, no. Except for when I first bought into the second collection and buying 3 Thunder King Ryos and a gold Blackluster Soldier Envoy. I don't buy singles. I buy boxes. So yes, I'm guilty of keeping Konami in business myself. Not as bad as $700. I may buy 1 box of each, and pretty much when I look at what I pull, I try to think around what's playing right now. So do I want to keep a hold of a card I pulled, or want to get rid of it? Is it going to drop in price? Are they going to reprint it? It's stock market speculation. It's like going to the gas station. Do I want to fill up at $3.34, or do I want to see if it drops to $3.19? That's current prices around here.
Your gas is ridiculously expensive.
There's the real thief.
well, our gas is pretty bad too.
That can be an off-topic podcast. Gas prices. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I could go and complain about how I spent like $70 to fill up my small car, and
we'd have to get someone from the European Union in here to tell us about their $10 a gallon price.
We've got Tomias for that. But anyways, Nomad, you didn't get to speak. So how did it change the way you look at sell or buy cards?
I mean, I look at it pretty much like any other market, and I kind of have to acknowledge that as much as I want to crap on Konami, what they're doing is kind of common sense. If they want to capitalize, on the reproduction market, why not, right? I mean, if they're gonna put intellectual property and advertising and all this into a card or game franchise, they're gonna hoard out as much as they can because that's what they have to do. And when I look at it, I can buy some cards cheaper than what I used to, and I've just gotten a bit smarter about making bad investments. And you know, I have a few decks right now that are incomplete, and I have other ones that are complete. And actually, if you look at it, if a card gets printed, I can even find the original a lot cheaper. So I tried for a long time to get a good deal on the Ultra Zevros. Like a day after it became a common, I got it, and I gave a guy like a couple of Snowman Eaters and some random super for it, and I had my Blackwing deck done.
Well, I mean,
And
let's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, it's good.
I just said nice.
Didn't mean to interrupt that with Nomad there. So
No, it's all good. There is one other positive. It doesn't really tie into the money value, but when cards get reprinted, a lot of the time they're going to have a better text.
Yes.
Mainly with the
Yes.
problem solving. And
What about Dark Worlds?
okay, well that I'm not even looking at. I can read those cards, and like I understand how it works, but yeah, I'm gonna ignore those for the sake of my argument here. I'm just saying. Sorry?
Gotcha.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, see, I don't play Dark Worlds, so I don't care.
Neither do I.
Inconvenient. Ignore it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm a
I'm
Yu-Gi-Oh
gonna
player.
say
It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Ignore it, ignore it, ignore it.
Exactly. If there's a problem that I see, ignore it. It'll eventually go away. I mean, I know what Grapha does. I'm good enough. But seriously though,
Explain why the Japanese always win the world championship.
well, yeah, we could never read their cards. Even even in our language, we can't read their cards. But
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say Konami probably did make a very good business move because the secondary Yu-Gi-Oh market was where all the money was going. It was going to those guys going on selling cards for $200 a pop, and they were losing their bargain players who don't have the good money. We don't have parents going out buying our decks for us. So, reprints, I guess, would be the way to go. It keeps your people who's been longtime players in the game, and instead of someone buying maybe 10 boxes of cards and pulling $200 or $200 cards and selling them right off the back and making money on the secondary market, in Konami's probably business mind, they figure we'll reprint it, we'll put it in a new pack, we'll make that money instead of them, and
sure.
so they have to spend more money to make their investment back. So it was a good business decision. Just to some of us collectors, it's kind of like wasted my money.
Yeah.
But you'd think after all these years we'd know, right? I mean, like if you compare it to almost any other hobby, like even Transformers, I can look at, for example. Well, if they make a mold, like a character, it's going to be repainted. It's going to come out in a multi-pack or something. They're very rarely going to release a character, a mold, and just use it once and then forget about it. They've already made it. Why not, why not capitalize on their investment? And if Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to do it, why not, right? And the only thing I think I would really like to see in the future, I know it's probably not going to happen, but if we get a reprint of a card, to have an alternate artwork on that, just to kind of separate it from the previous incarnation. And I know, like,
that with Elemental Heroes, though.
Yeah, a few of them, and even like when the Crush card came out in the Kaiba Duelist pack, we had the Japanese one that didn't look like barf, and that was nice. And I don't know.
Man, reprints. How about
What I'd like to see them do more of is after reading, I thought of this after reading Vinny's new article on Magic cards about I don't remember how you call it, functional reprints. Like the idea of taking a powerful rare card and instead of reprinting it into a lower rarity, why not make a version of that card specific to an archetype?
Well, and we're getting that. I mean, if you look at Chaos Sorcerer and Black Luster Soldier, isn't there like a Light End Sorcerer or something of... I keep forgetting its name, but it's like...
Light Ray Sorcerer.
Yes, that's the one. Light Ray Sorcerer. So we have that, and...
It's terrible. It's a terrible card.
Well, okay, so it's terrible, but it still exists, and...
Yeah.
Some macro players will probably argue it's good. But...
Its playability, Light Ray Grepper was... It's horrible for its secondary effect, but for the ability of using it like Dark Grepper to special summon itself, out of all the Light Rays, I've seen that as being the most useful in any kind of build out of the Light Rays they came out with.
Oh, and it's also part of its own fan fiction too, isn't it? I mean,
you
know, with him and the Warrior Lady and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The stories within the cards.
Yeah, I love those fan fictions.
That's a podcast of its own.
Of course. Yeah. Everything is a podcast of its own.
How about naming some reprints now? Like, name 3 reprints you were happy to see and 3 reprints you were not happy to see.
Crush card! Sorry,
yeah.
Got away from myself there.
I'm going to have to say 3 reprints I'm happy to see is Dolka. Oh, I guess, yeah, they're confirmed, whatever. Whatever, this will just cancel out the second bullet, the reprints you're looking forward to. Whatever. So 3 reprints I'm happy to see. Dolka, Zenmaines, and Lance. 3 reprints I'm not happy to see. Dolka, Zenmaines, and Lance. Simply for the fact that I want those cards. I don't want anyone else to have them. They're supposed to be in my deck. I'm supposed to win. You guys are supposed to go, you have nice cards, but I want them. And then I'll say, no, you can't have them.
Lance, are they reprinting Forbidden Lance?
They already did.
That's what it was in that in the Starfoil crap thing.
Oh yeah.
Starfoil,
Epic Dawn, yeah. Epic Dawn Battle Pack.
Half of my Starfoils don't even have foil on it. It looks like...
Well, it depends on the angle too. Like I've noticed that in the case, a lot of them just seem like commons because you don't get all the refraction, but
mine's actually rubbed off. It looks like...
That's like the rares. The rares are the ugliest rares I've ever seen.
They look fake. It's like someone had a pen and like scratched in the name of the card like really well.
Yeah, I like
That's
the
about
idea
it.
Of, the black foil names. It's just I think it should have been combined with foil on the picture itself because otherwise, it just looks fake.
If they'd have put, say, the kind of work they did into the Hobby League cards as far as those things being pliable, that would have been great if they'd have did that with the Star Foils.
Oh, for sure. It'd be even funnier because every week we get other players asking if they're illegal, and we'd have to laugh in their faces and tell them no. And
we're gonna release Tour Guide as a Starfoil, but you can't use it.
See, Dragon Ball Z had that where they released a bunch of practice cards in the starters and called them battle simulators. And it was like in big text on the bottom, it says, this cannot be used in games or something. And like, yeah, I pulled a Piccolo. Oh, it's this one. And then it was kind of a drag.
Isn't that kind of like looking at the God cards? And now we actually have playable versions, but yeah, having that nice collection of Slifer, Raw, and Obelisk, but at the bottom, this card is unplayable.
Oh yeah, and then they reprint them into playable versions, and we get a nice Slifer and Obelisk, but we get a Raw that just isn't worth putting in any deck ever.
Oh, no, I wanted to cry when I saw that. I was like, well, I love the artwork, but it's Raw.
I actually want to get...
Come on, make it better. It makes Slifer worse.
Yeah,
Slifer's awesome, though.
Slifer's the best, and let's be honest, it's Yugi's card. It has to be the one card that is playable with the best effect, because everyone's going to be like, I'm Yugi Moto, I'm running around with Slifer.
That's exactly
Unless
what
you
I'm
were
gonna
a Kaiba fan. If you were a
That's
Kaiba fan. If you were a Kaiba fan, Obelisk.
But what
Remember
if
that
you
Kaiba card to start off with.
Well,
do. If you're a Merrick's
I'll-
fan, you just wear shirts that show off your midriff. There you go.
Yeah. And you're probably a girl too. And
So, gang,
what if you're a Pegasus fan though? I mean, if you're a Pegasus fan like me,
if you're a Pegasus fan, go watch Bonds Beyond Time Abridged, and then go, whoo, I'm dead. That's all that matters.
I hate the fact they haven't brought more supports too, because yeah, for the longest time I was a fan of Tunes as a, just as a fun deck, but they just never made them competitive enough to play. I mean, yeah, there's Tune Table of Contents and
for
some of the
Exodia.
other searchers, but it's just not viable in the meta.
Yeah.
Well, I
like to
mean-
see, tunes get some good support, and some of the
Who knows?
harder to find stuff get a reprint.
Yeah.
So I hope they never
Amazon-
reprint my Toon Dark Magician Girls, because I have those. You can't have them. Ha ha ha.
I can't have them.
Okay,
Oh.
Ginzaki, 3 reprints you're happy to see, confirmed or not, out or not. 3 reprints you're not happy to see.
I mentioned Mirror Force, Bryonic, and Stardust Dragon, because I think everyone and their mother needs Stardust. It's just one of those cards.
Stardust is everything but common now.
Exactly. Things I'm not happy to see, I'm just going to condense this into one card, and it was Solemn Warning, because I paid $160 to acquire my pair of Solemn Warnings, and the very next day, oh, they're getting reprinted. Oh, threw that money away.
After
Mhm.
one day? Wow.
Yeah, one day.
You should have joined Midnight TCG earlier. We would have told you, hey, don't spend your money.
Midnight TCG didn't exist at that time.
Oh, okay.
Didn't it? I thought it did.
Hey, we
When
had
did
Midnight
TCG start.
I thought it's been
Midnight
around for like a year and a
Express.
half, isn't it at least? Or
11 months on Midnight TCG, Midnight Express for 2 years before that. So we're almost to 3 years
So,
if you
yeah,
well,
you've,
both.
yeah,
we
I
have our
guess-
history.
I guess this place had been around for a couple months by the time I made that purchase.
What about you, Nomad? What are you happy to see? What aren't you happy to see?
Well, I was really happy to see Power Duality. I think because that was because when it came out, I was broke and there were so many decks I wanted to play that I'm like, well, I can't mentally justify not running Duality in these decks, even 2 of them. And then, of course, I guess Judgment Dragon, in a way, because it became a gold, and I could actually get a couple playable copies of it, and I could run my sack deck, because sack decks are fun, especially when you win. And
Do whatever you want. I'll just summon JD. Okay.
I know, and then I'll warning it, and then I'll play my second one, and it'll
They'll
be even funnier.
bottomless it.
Yeah, and then I'll
Yeah.
play my third one, and yeah. As far as reprints, I was unhappy to see. I guess Crush Card in a sense, because I could have sold it a few months prior, but I didn't want to get lowballed. And
Now you have no choice.
see now I hold on to it, and that way I figure at least I'm cutting my losses by not getting balled.
Yeah, that's
So-
true.
So I still have a gold edition Crush Card.
Well, think about all the guys who got rid of Blackluster Soldier right before he came back.
Yeah. Oh, I bought mine for $8. That was glorious.
And I still had mine from when I bought it online because I like having all the bound cards in case they come back, like Dark Hole.
And Heavy Storm.
Oh yeah.
And Cold Wave and True Nade.
Oh, I love Cold Wave.
Oh, I miss it.
I almost wish that would come back.
Yeah,
Almost.
right.
I do.
Yeah, okay.
Cold Wave was awesome. I could like take the mic here and go for an hour about how much I like Cold Wave, but I won't.
Yeah, my deck could probably use Cold Wave again, but
And Fox, your favorite and least favorite reprints?
I'm going to say favorites. I liked seeing, as I said earlier, I liked seeing Doom Caliber getting reprinted because we all know that before it hit gold, only the top duelists had it. So anytime they bring something that Konami released in World Championships and all that, it's always nice to see those hit in reprint form.
He was a Turbo Pack Ultra before Gold, so.
Yeah, but gold just made him a little bit cheaper.
And now he's a common.
Yeah,
Oh, is
now
he?
he's a common in Battle Pack.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And other than that, it's kind of the double-edged sword on Solemn Judgment because, yeah, I really wanted it so it was affordable to get a hold of. But then when I wasn't used to running it and I first started using it, I would always time myself wrong on using it. So it kind of backfired on me for quite some time. Excuse me, before I started running Thought Ruler Archfiend to recycle my life points. And other than that, Invader of Darkness, I'm going to go way back.
All right.
I mean, useless. Reprints that I wasn't happy to see, as Jen said, I didn't like seeing the Solemn Warnings. I can't say I spent $160, but I did spend $70 buying my set to only see it come out in a super rare edition. So yeah, that Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End. When they reprinted it, the artwork, the look of the card, it just didn't do justice. I refused to get that reprint. I have the original IOC. That's the only artwork, beauty of the card that does that card justice.
yeah, I have the original IOC of that as well. Though I would say I like the Ultimate treatment it got in the Kaiba pack. It looks really good in Ultimate.
You guys should seriously pick up some Chaos Emperor Dragon. Some painful choices there coming back.
Hey, you know what? Even if we joke about it, if you can buy a banned card for a few bucks, it's not going to go down in value, and if it ever comes back, you'll be in great shape.
Oh yeah, BLS.
It's like the BLS that I had. You know, I'm not going to pay $30 for it now because I have one, and if Harpy's Feather Duster ever comes back, then
It's a rare star foil, so you don't have to worry about that.
My third one, I'm going to go with Val on that. It's actually a tie between two. With Lightsworn with Aaron as a super rare and Judgment Dragon. It was fine to hit gold, but Judgment Dragon in common was like looking at Exodia as a common. And Aaron, man, I just like the way it's shiny.
well, for sure. I think all the Lightsworns really struck me well in the Secret or the Ultra, but I mean, even Gold Editions are good for him because they're a gold archetype, right?
Quick side question. Is Aaron a dude or a chick?
Well, Aaron's a chick.
Yeah.
I think Jane is the one that people claim is a girl, and
Hang on a second.
I
I
always
gotta pull my deck out now. Aaron's a what? A girl?
Aaron is definitely a girl.
I
Yeah.
don't remember the artwork, but when I remember looking at it and coming to that conclusion.
Because
Huh.
I mean,
Butch.
well, isn't she Amazon or something? So I mean, her Egyptian.
Well, they couldn't make her as hot as Tour Guide or Tour Bus.
Oh, that's
Oh,
wrong. Okay, that's
this-
a whole wrong discussion tonight, guys. That's wrong. Okay,
Well, it's
we
a
gotta
cartoon.
move right along.
It's a cartoon character.
No segue from this. No segue from this.
No segue. Well, I can
No, no,
segue
no.
out of this.
Reprints you
Throw my
never
comedy
ever.
in here.
Give me my
Reprints-
segue.
Reprints you guys never ever want to see. You guys got to go first because I honestly don't know what I don't want to see, because everything's going to be reprinted. Card D. I don't want to see your reprinted. Atom, I don't want to see reprinted because in 6 months, when they think, oh, heretics aren't bad, they don't need to be touched in September, and then in November they go, let's make heretics wreck for 6 months. Okay, Atom common and card D rare. Those are what I don't want to see.
You know what I want to see, though? Is I want to see Mystic Piper get reprinted, because I do not understand how it's as expensive as it is, considering that it was used in like one deck.
But have you seen the...
It barely topped, and now it's like...
It's a
have you
secret
seen the
that does
upcoming
fairly
release?
well in its deck, so.
Yeah, I guess.
The upcoming release. They're getting ready to release more support to the Piper Chaos deck. It's getting dark versions. That's why Mystic Piper's going up.
I could see that.
Yeah.
They're releasing more Chaos Piper stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so Kinkabayo and Chaos or Mystic Piper weren't enough. Okay, cool, awesome. I'm glad I don't live in a place where like there's 250 people at my locals. I'd just be like, I quit the game.
Hey, the cards I don't want to see reprinted, I can't really think of much. The only thing I hate is I hate seeing any card that comes out in a nice foil getting reprinted into common.
What was that?
That was the sound of someone's collection burning.
Yeah. The sound of Muka Muka barely escaping into a starfoil.
I thought there was a troll in the dungeon.
A troll? I should show you my collection of trolls sometime.
That's all right. I'm okay.
No, I do. I keep them in a drawer.
I see.
Yeah.
Weird.
What reprint you don't want to see, Nomad?
I don't want to see any more Gate Guardians get reprinted. That was
True.
one of the first cards I got as a kid, and it was worth a lot of money at one time. And I don't know. It just seems like something that...
It's always bothered you, hasn't it?
Well, I mean, it's something that I want to have and only me want to have, and even though I'm never going to run it successfully, I don't want anyone else to have it. So, boo to reprints on him.
Gate Guardian.
I'm going to say, number one, the God cards, the unplayable ones. They've released them enough times.
Oh, of course.
Please stop re-releasing them. The Sacred Beasts, please stop re-releasing them. And finally, but although I know this is going to happen because they did it with Crow, with Black Wings, Inzectors. Let it stay where it's at, but you know they're going to want to make money. You're going to see an Inzector deck either in a structure or you're going to see it in a box.
Or turbo pack stuff. It's gonna be
Actually, what I
some
think is
shiny
going to
crap.
happen, I think it's going to be like the Samurai and the X-Saber Power, where you're going to get either, they're going to randomize it, where you either get a super Dragonfly or a super Centipede.
That'd be kind of cool, actually, because then people buy more than 6 of them. What do you get the doubles?
Exactly.
Smart, not be smart.
I'm just waiting for the reprints for Inzectors. Thanks, Fox. You gave me hope.
Yeah, you gave us all hope.
Well, the Phantom Beast makes me want a nice reprint of Armatile to make it easier to get.
That doesn't make it easier to make in the game, though.
I'm here.
I have
Everyone.
a deck to build around it, but I just can't get a copy of it.
Oh, okay.
Can't you use Phantom of Chaos on that too? And
Yeah, I'm using Phantom of Chaos.
That's the build.
yeah.
So I'm going to mash the last 2 points together, talk about the transition from Upper Deck to Konami and how the reprints reflected that, as well as when do you think the good reprints started happening. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, to me, the good reprints started when Ab-Zero and Spore came in the which special edition was that? It's after the Ancient Prophecy one. Anyways, yeah, that's when I think it started. And that's kind of when Konami was like, hey, we kind of want our company back.
Oh, they cut out the middleman and...
I can't really comment on this because I was not actually a member of the community during those years. That part completely passed me by.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I started playing when the game first came out, and then once I was in college, I was like, yeah, I had to buckle from the game for a bit to get studying done. And
well, when did you start up again? Like, what was
late 2009,
what was the pack?
Early 2010.
See, but Konami didn't take over till 2010, so you joined just at the right time for reprints. So you were probably you were reaping all the benefits. You're probably like,
Yeah, I was just catching back up at sync. I pretty much left with the start of the heroes making fusions worthwhile, and then came back with synchros. Now I was just catching up.
Fusions were always worthwhile, but I'll talk about that later.
I would like to introduce you to Fusionist.
Shh.
Fusionist, eh?
Next person. I'm angry now.
Is that me? Is that
That's
me?
you.
Okay. Well, the transition from Upper Deck into, I guess, Konami distribution. I mean, a lot of stuff got hoarded a lot more, and it attracted more players, and ultimately helped them become the #1 card game in the world. So, like I said before, any kind of dumping I do on them is going to be futile because it's working in their favor, and we're still around, even though we complain about it. So, as far as when the good reprints started happening, I'm going to go with Pot of Duality again because personally I never really cared until then. So I'm going to be biased entirely on that.
I'm still going to say the Ab-Zero reprint was good.
Yeah, but see, I didn't get an Absolute Zero until like a month ago. So,
Wow.
So I'm going to be slow on that front and say that, you know, another point I would like to add here before I forget about it, because I wasn't smart enough to make notes, was like, isn't, in Magic, isn't there a formula of where secrets or mythics or whatever are guaranteed to avoid reprints for a certain amount of time before they get hoarded again? Or is that
so.
just...
I think so. I believe that's how it's done. They're guaranteed for such and such time before they can be reprinted. I think it's like 2 years. But that would be a question we'd ask SM or St. Walker. Those guys know their Magic. They can tell you. SM could definitely tell you the time limit on reprints.
Okay, so just for discussion, in Yu-Gi-Oh!, would you guys like it if we had, let's say, Secrets will come out? Would you guys like it if we knew that a Secret Rare wouldn't receive a reprint for, let's say, 2 years? Would that encourage or discourage you from getting that card? And I guess
that
how
would
you feel?
discourage me from buying packs, and I would just start buying singles. And then after a year and a half, everyone, eBay, their front page would be like 150 Pot of Duality playsets. So Konami would never do that for the simple fact that they're telling people when it's going to be reprinted. So they're like, okay, secondary market, Troll and Toad, go to town.
Well, not so much. If they didn't give you an idea, they just guaranteed that card's not going to be reprinted for 2 years. That's not saying that they couldn't find a crappy little card to decide to reprint, and everybody gets rid of all those high-priced cards then, and then you're kicking yourself like I was when I got rid of my Herrick's.
I don't know. I think it'd be interesting, too, even if it was a case of that it won't get a reprint in a lower probability of getting it, like it would be reprinted in, say, a battle pack, but it wouldn't be a common.
There you go. I hate to see wonderful cards reprinted into ugly looking Zaborg, Starfoil. The common looked better than the Starfoils.
Unless we want that Zaborg, we can't find the super rare because it's $40 on eBay, and all of us cool kids want to play Monarchs, right?
You guys know about the OCG reprint packs that they get every September, right?
I know about them vaguely.
So what happens is all the TCG exclusives from the year 2011, they get in a 2012 repack booster pack this September. And that's to include Tour Guide, that's to include Tengu, that's to include Pot of Duality, or things that we have that they don't like. They won't. I don't think they'll get Advanced Art till 2013.
I'm gonna
kind of deal.
I'm gonna chime in on on mine. I'm gonna say when I was 1999, when I should have been playing, and my friends were playing the game and wanted me to get into it, I told them no, it's a children's card game. I don't want to touch it. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Fast forward 4 years, and I was into it bigger than any of them ever were. And so, I come in when UDE did have control. And I'm going to say it kind of stunk to go to some of the tournaments and see the same people topping, the same people making money because they knew what they were holding on to. But you saw more diversity in what people were playing. You didn't play the same deck over and over and over and over again until Konami took over. Kind of a good thing, bad thing. Yes, they drew in more people, but I get sick and tired of seeing everybody playing the same deck. So when I play somebody who's not playing Dino Rabbit, Insectors, things like that, Chaos Dragons, I'm happy because I'm like, wow, this is fresh. I don't know what to expect. It gets kind of boring when you play the same thing over.
Well, but I think we've gone in cycles, though. Sorry?
No, I was just going to make a quick note on that. Konami, with the reprints, is pretty much only saying, individuality, not really liking it. How about we just feed you what you want? Eventually, everyone will start playing the deck. Let's adjust that to the ban list. Wind-ups, Insectors, no, you're free to go for 6 months to a year.
And that's like everybody was playing the market thinking they're going to hit Rabbit on the ban list. They're going to hit Insectors on the ban list.
I didn't think
and
so.
And we saw the ban list, and it's like, so you kill the plan engine, and you let the others run rampant. But I'm going to be honest and say, I'm just going to say that Insectors and Rabbit, being as expensive as they are, really didn't. I mean, you do have your top tier players playing them, but they didn't take off completely like Konami wanted. I'm going to say the worst one is Chaos Dragons, just because they released the Dragon Structure deck that just gave it a life of its own. It's kind of like when everybody ran gadgets for forever because they released that structure deck with Cyber Dragon and all 3 gadgets. You go out and buy 3 decks, and you pretty much got a ready-to-play deck, except for a few expensive cards.
Yeah.
I just built Machina gadgets yesterday, so I'm all like, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm testing out. I'm waiting for Return of the Duelist to hit. I'm testing out Crystal Beasts. I've been wanting to play the dark versions, which Advanced Dark gets released in that. And it's way back when you watched it on the GX show. I've been waiting for the dark versions to hit. I never liked Jaden stuff. I'm sorry, I didn't. Back then, I tried to build hero deck until Absolute Zero. They were a pretty dead deck. Absolute Zero.
Hey, no.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Zero is what took Heroes, way up. Once it hit, everybody wanted to play Heroes.
What about Stratos?
My 67 card fusion deck was amazing. The fact that I pulled out 2 deck boxes and they were like, I don't know what to do. The fact that I had an answer for everything from Mariner to Electrum, the fusions were the best. I ran Electrum. I had the McDonald's promo ×3. Thank you.
I liked Electrum. When I read about that card, I'm like, okay, I really, really hope it gets mistranslated.
Nomad, you caught me on ETC when I first joined the game back in 04, so you could probably attest to some of my atrocious builds when I first started playing.
04?
And I would, yeah, I joined in 04.
I don't think I was there in 04.
And came back in 05. And my first builds, yeah, I remember I used to have that humongous fusion deck that I thought would just be super mega awesome and just didn't know the complete gameplays. The first guy who taught me didn't even teach me how to play properly.
Yeah,
he was playing on the old Konami rules.
I had a pretty big learning curve in the beginning because I didn't really focus that much on the game. I was just kind of just there to piss around and have fun. And it wasn't even until I moved over here to BC and restarted the game that I kind of went to look at actually learning how to do things. And I guess the reprints came along with that, but you know, I definitely wasn't on ETC in 04 and 05. I might have I knew about the site, but I didn't join until at the beginning of 08 maybe. And end of 07.
Oh gosh, I was on there much longer than you.
Yeah, I know you were.
Well, guys, I like the reminiscing. I'm sorry I can't be a part of it because I've only been on the site for 6 months. But this time, I'm actually hoping that this will attract enough viewers that I want to leave what will be up in next week to the viewers. I'm going to give you guys 2 choices between... Oh, where'd my idea go? Uh-oh. Don't edit this out.
Edit more.
This is awesome. No, don't edit this. I had 2 ideas because I want the viewers to choose what we talk about. The big 3 or somebody chime in with an idea, please. I feel like an idiot. The big 3 or
ACK's idiocy.
Oh, that's a good one. Wait, what? No, that's terrible.
Or how about this? How about if we let our viewers pick the idea, and they can feed us ideas, and then
I'll post up a poll.
Yeah,
that's what I want. Between a few things, like the big 3. Now, do we want to dive in to Inzectors completely? How about we could do how we feel on plays? There's the Ladybug version, there's the Hopper version, there's the Excalibur version, there's the straight up Dragonfly Centipede Hornet version, or there's Chaos Dragons, or I want the viewers to pick for us. And then I'll spend one night writing a whole bunch of notes real quick and send it to everybody.
Notes? What notes?
Let's leave
we
it
don't
up.
Use notes.
Hey, you got line
notes.
When this goes up, we'll leave it up to the viewers to discuss. I'll put up a poll on Tuesday. It'll go offline Thursday at midnight. We can write up the notes, and that's where we'll take off Thursday night.
Okay, sounds good. So, thank you.
Viewers, the users, will be picking what we talk about next week.
That's exciting. I'm excited. And you know what? I'm going to be the only one.
Anthony, you know who I'm talking to.
I actually am going to be the only one who's not going to vote. So you 3 can vote. And I just want to say thank you again, Ginzaki, for recording, Fox for being here, Nomad. You know what? I said just jump in for 1 week, but if you want to come back every week, you're welcome here. Because I need another Canadian here.
Yes.
I'm a little overwhelmed.
Canada power, for sure.
Yes.